This is Harley from the Shamrock Productions podcast, and with me I have
Jessica.
Max.
And me! Guess what, guys? Shawn's back, family in the house. And remember, the will of the horseman is the will of the apocalypse, my friend.
and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Batman vs. Superman movie due for release on May 6th, 2016. But before we get into that, we're going to recap Man of Steel, which is the first movie to this duo. Batman vs. Superman is a sequel. Just keep that in mind. The same guys playing Superman. A few details I think are important. Man of Steel released on June 14th, 2013 in the United States with a budget of $225 million. That movie brought in internationally $668,045,518. And it was a relatively good reviewed movie. According to IMDb, the rating was 7.5 out of 10, and that was from the votes of 358,214 users. So, Man of Steel, which was directed by Zack Snyder, who did 300, and another DC hero team, Watchmen. The movie was written by David S. Goyer and Christopher Nolan, which both co-wrote the Dark Knight trilogy, and which Christopher Nolan directed. Christopher Nolan, it should also be noted that he was the executive producer for Man of Steel, which means he had a lot of input with the movie. And Goyer also did the screenplay for Man of Steel. The cast, Henry Cavill as Clark Kent, Superman. Amy Adams was Lois Lane. Lawrence Fishburne was Perry White. Diane Lane was Martha Kent. And my favorite actor, Kevin Costner, was Jonathan Kent. And the pretty skilled Michael Shannon played a pretty convincing General Zod. And I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but Anjay Trow, is that how you say that?
I reckon so. It sounds better than what I would have done.
Yeah, Anjay Trow played Feora, which, by the way, a lot of people were mad that Ursula did not come back because she was one of the three villains in Superman 2, which was with Zod. Feora is Ursula. It's just a different name, and this has been stated several times in comics, just so you guys are aware. Then Harry Lennox played General Swanwick, and Christopher Melanie from Law & Order SVU on TV played Colonel Hardy. And then Richard Schiff played Dr. Emil Hamilton, which accompanies Superman many times on many occasions in the comics and the Superman animated series. And Russell Crowe, who is amazing, played Jor-El, which is Superman's father. I'm not sure how to say this name either, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Ayelet Zurer was Lara, Superman's mom. So Man of Steel pretty much was an origin story. There was a lot of stuff that happened in that movie that people didn't disagree with, that people did not agree with. And I will just say, there are going to be spoilers in this podcast. We're going to be talking about Batman vs. Superman and how Man of Steel is going to lead into that. And there's going to be spoilers, and we're not going to be able to help it. So, Man of Steel. Exactly. So, Man of Steel started out on Krypton, Jor-El tries to warn the council, they don't believe him, and blah, blah, blah. We all know the origin story. Krypton blows up, Superman, or Kal-El, goes to Earth, and he's raised by two farmers, and he ends up becoming the world's greatest superhero, as he's called in the comic books. Superman in Man of Steel, it was a different take. I wouldn't necessarily call it dark like the Dark Knight trilogy. It was gritty. It was realistic and gritty, and it was more about of him trying to find himself and trying to understand and find his place among people that are not the same as him, pretty much. He's an alien, he's an outsider, and he's trying to find his place. And he finds that place as the savior of mankind when General Zod initiates an attack on Earth to terraform the planet and turn it into Krypton. And there was some is about it. So pretty much, they released these what they called world engines, and one would go on the North Pole or wherever, as long as they were kind of like right, perpendicular to each other wherever they were on the Earth, and they would literally just punch a hole. It was pretty much like a huge gravity field, and it would disrupt gravity. It would bring it up, and then it would crush it down with immense force, and that was how they were terraforming the planet. And it destroyed a good bit of Metropolis in the process. And Colonel Hardy, spoiler, died taking out the world engine in Metropolis, who supposedly also killed Feora, but I don't think she died. I think she just got sucked into the black hole that formed when they did this, which wasn't a black hole. It was a portal to the Phantom Zone and sucked all the Kryptonians back in.
Yeah, because it's totally survivable when you get sucked into a black hole.
Oh, totally.
Even if it was just a portal, but, I mean, out of doubt.
Oh, yeah. I would probably have killed myself if I was going to get sucked into one of those. So, they take down these world engines. Metropolis is pretty goodly. I mean, it's lost a good portion of its city. They took these both down, and then everybody's like loves Superman. Of course, that's how the end of the movie implied. The government is not comfortable with him, but they are aware of his existence, and they don't seem to feel too threatened at this point with his existence. But there's clearly issues that the government would have of that. And Harry Lennox, who played General Swanwick, or I should say General Swanwick, at the end of Man of Steel, after Superman threw a satellite out of orbit because the government was using it to spy on him, presumably, and he told them, General Swanwick told Superman, how do we know you're not going to act against America's interest? And Superman told him, General, I grew up in Kansas. It doesn't get much more American than that. And then he flew off. So
you can't blame the American government for being afraid or at least worried about Superman being there, because anytime you've got one person that can completely destroy all your infrastructure, I mean, come on. Yeah. I would be afraid of him. I would try to fight him. Oh, yeah. Which would lead into eventually you get the Transformers Dark of the Moon kind of reference where they're going to be like, yeah, you're the problem. You need to go somewhere.
Exactly. I think that's how it's going to end up turning out. We'll get to that later. So at the movie ended, Clark Kent, he now has his double identity. He's no longer just Clark Kent, and Lois isn't yelling Clark as Superman's flying away. So he works at the Daily Planet. He wears his glasses, and he's got that double identity. He's Clark Kent, and he works at the Daily Planet. What else? There's Jor-El. He's no longer around. At least that's what the Man of Steel implied, because he was an AI intelligence that could be like plugged into any Kryptonian technology, and he could take control over it.
That sounds unnecessarily powerful.
Yeah, Zod kind of destroyed that program. Jor-El's gone, like gone. I mean, he died, obviously, in Man of Steel, but that computer program's no longer there. It should also be worth mentioning, there is a good chance that Supergirl is going to show up later on, because in a prequel comic that they released to lead into the Man of Steel, a ship crashed to Earth, piloted by Kara, who is Superman's cousin on Krypton. It crashed thousands of years ago, and it's abandoned, and that was that same ship that turned into Superman's Fortress of Solitude. That was Kara's spaceship, and that's how it got to Earth, because she drove it there, and it crashed somehow. I don't know. I didn't read the prequel, but I know the highlights of it.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Mr. Nerd over there with your Superman stuffs.
Oh, yes. Now we're going to get into the sequel, Batman vs. Superman. This is going to release on May 6th, 2016, which should be noted. This is the same release date as Captain America 3, which Marvel just recently announced. So if you want to see both of these movies, figure out a way to do it, because you're probably only going to be able to see one due to theater stuffs. no plot synopsis has been released. However, the writer and the screenplay writer, which is both David Goyer, is coming back to write this movie. Christopher Nolan is not attached, and we'll get into that in a minute. David Goyer has said officially Batman and Superman are not friends for at least the first half of the movie. This movie is going to be directed by Zack Snyder. The story is going to be by David S. Goyer and Zack Snyder. And the screenplay... Okay, I lied. Goyer did not do the screenplay. The screenplay is by someone named Chris Terrio. I'm not sure what movies he's worked on. I apologize. The returning cast is Henry Cavill as Clark Kent and Superman. Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White. Diane Lane as Martha Kent. And Harry Lennox, Christopher Meloni, and Richard Schiff, I do not believe have been officially announced. I would say Richard Schiff will make a return as Emil Hamilton, and as well as General Swanwick, but I'm pretty sure Colonel Hardy died in Man of Steel, so I'm pretty sure he's not coming back. Unless they pull the Transformers.
Yeah, they could always do that. I mean, just bring everybody back all of a sudden. Hey, guess what? I'm still alive. I've been hiding in a hole somewhere in, bumfucked Egypt.
Yeah.
But, why don't we get the first things off? I mean, one thing we really should talk about is how is Superman's life going to be during this movie? I mean, is it being he's known to everyone now? Everyone knows he's there. Batman included, obviously, at this point, knows that he exists.
Yes.
I wonder how his life's going to be. Is people going to be bugging the hell out of him? Is he constantly going to have to be going and doing shit?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. Real quick, there's 3 new characters. Ben Affleck, who previously played Marvel's Daredevil, is Batman.
Ew.
Yeah. Gal Gadot, I'm pretty sure is how you say that, is Wonder Woman, who, by the way, I don't know why she's here, honestly. And I don't even like that she's flat-chested, because Wonder Woman's not flat-chested. I don't like that. That needs to go away.
You be careful, but you're going to get yourself sued talking about her like that.
Need more tits.
Yes. Well, that's perfectly right. I mean, you can't have Wonder Woman without having Wonder Woman,
Yeah. And I will say, Gal Gadot is a sexy woman. I'm sorry. But she's not Wonder Woman by any stretch of the word. And then...
Well, she's no more a Wonder Woman than Ben Affleck is a Batman. I mean...
But Ben Affleck's a good actor, kind of, recently. I will give him a chance. Gal Gadot...
No, he should not play superheroes. He completely ruined Daredevil.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I'm going to get myself sued now, but
okay.
This point is kind of those...
The girl that they hired for Wonder Woman, at least she's a pure badass. I mean, look what she did in fucking Fast and Furious.
Yes. Oh. If Gal Gadot, if Ben Affleck pissed you guys off on Batman, wait till you hear who's playing Lex Luthor, and it's being played by none other than Jesse Eisenberg, who, I'm pretty sure, I want to say he was in that movie. What is that? The zombie movie with Woody Harrelson.
Oh, Zombieland?
Yeah, I want to say that was the movie he was in, but I kind of get him confused with the guy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg is in Zombieland.
Yes. This guy is Lex Luthor in Batman vs. Superman. Ew.
No.
They should have gotten fucking either Jason Statham or what's his name, Bruce Willis.
They should have got
Jason Statham. Oh my God, why can no one say his name right? It's Jason Statham.
I told him that. He don't want to listen. I think they should have got what's that guy's name from Breaking Bad? He would have been awesome.
Oh yeah, he would have done pretty good, but he was also doing the new Godzilla movie, so
yeah.
No, Bruce Willis playing Lex, he would have done a great job at it, but I feel like he, in his history of acting, has always done better as the protagonist, not the antagonist. So, I mean, him playing a bad guy, or at least, some way in that aspect, I think it would do good, but I think it would be, outside of his norm.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as Wonder Woman goes, I don't know who I would have picked to play Batman. I don't. But as far as Wonder Woman, I think Gina Carano, whoa, would have been amazing. I don't know.
Yeah, probably would have been better, but you gotta think. They also had to look at how's the actress herself going to do. Is she going to be able to portray the part? I mean, maybe they gave up a little bit on the look, but at least she's going to be able to portray the part, act it extremely well.
Yeah. Which, if she acts it out pretty well, I will give them a pass.
But
so,
I mean, they really just need to find a badass woman. It's kind of hard to find with all the actresses they got around nowadays.
Oh
yeah.
I don't think anybody would have been perfect for Wonder Woman. So
yeah, I mean, there's always going to be a problem with it. But I mean, as far as let's jump back over to Batman because I know that's going to be a huge topic with everybody. Is Ben Affleck playing Batman? He has got nothing but shit since the day they announced that he's going to be playing Batman. Because everyone knows Ben Affleck does not play superheroes.
Yeah. I will say this because it's been pretty important to me that everyone knows. It's not always the actor's fault that a movie sucks, and it's not always the director's fault. You guys seem to forget, a lot of you, that writers is what is behind movies. I did not say that.
Speak English, dude.
Yeah.
An actor and a director are only as good as, what they've been given. But it's still like, even if it's got like a perfect script, and even if everything's directed perfectly, good God, I can't talk. I mean, Ben Affleck is Batman. He doesn't look like Batman. He doesn't portray Batman. He doesn't, it just doesn't, when you look at him, when I imagine him in a bat suit, he just doesn't, it doesn't jump out, oh, hey, that's Batman to me.
He's got the chin. You have to give him that. He's got the chin.
Well, that's one aspect of Batman.
Okay, but
look at it this way. Yes, Ben Affleck, he's an attractive guy, but he doesn't have the muscle build. He doesn't have the look of Batman. Like, he won't be able to pull off the bat suit.
Yeah, I will agree.
He will be like the tiniest Batman we have ever seen on TV.
Well, they might give him padding or something.
No, you could tell. You'd be able to see
it.
No.
Touché. Well, you could, but Henry Cavill, which, by the way, who was extremely built for the role of Superman, his costume had padding too, and a lot of people didn't notice it because they just assumed, well, he's so big, that's just his muscles. No. They had padding to accent. It wasn't to, it wasn't like muscle padding. It was like pretty much accent padding to reinforce.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, even if they just say they put in padding, you don't notice it. Even if you can't physically see it in the movie and they make it look okay, you're still going to have this picture in the back of your mind, or at least I will, as like a movie buff, as a person who really looks at this kind of stuff. I'm going to see this like cutaway. I'm going to have Batman over here as, Affleck over here, and then I'm going to have an actual photo of Affleck like on the other side of my brain, and I'm going to put the two together, and I'm going to see this little man does not make up that big suit.
Yeah, you say Affleck. It reminds me of that commercial, Affleck.
Affleck.
So how do you think Ben Affleck's going to portray Bruce Wayne, which I think is one of the most, it's like half the role. You got to be able to do both of them exquisitely.
If we look at that, I feel that Ben Affleck could portray Bruce Wayne very well. He could pull off the business part of it. He could pull off just the general appeal that Bruce Wayne has. The fast cars, the fancy life, all the women always being near him. Not that he ever goes for them, but they're always there. Like, hey, I want your money. I think he could pull that off, or at least in some aspects. He could do at least that half of the Batman.
As far as facts for Batman versus Superman, is there anything else that you guys think should be addressed?
As far as facts go?
Yes.
There's not really giving us all that much information. It's the one thing I'm really disappointed in. I wish I had more to go on right now.
And, that's funny, because we already know what the Superman suit's going to look like. They've already finished the design of the new Batman suit, and they've given us kind of a, what do you call it? Vague description of what it's going to look like. And They haven't given us any details on Wonder Woman's costume or what she's going to be wearing, what her role is going to be. And they finished production on the new Batmobile, and there's no pictures. All they said was, "Yep, we finished building it. Now you guys know, but we're not going to show it to you."
Oh,
Really?
they probably won't. Just to be that guy.
Yeah. Granted, I will have to say, if J.J. Abrams was behind this movie, we wouldn't get anything, so I'm happy.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth?
I guess we're gonna move on to I wouldn't call it speculate. I mean, technically it's speculate. I mean, unless you guys have anything else to say before we move on.
I think going on, and now that we've discussed, what it is actually, who's actually going to be in, it's pretty much all we've discussed, really. They have not given us any information about what exactly is going to happen in the movie, other than the fact that, guess what, Batman and Superman are not friends. Jump into, speculation, talk about what we would like and what we would like to see in the movie and what we do not want to be there. Like, there's going to be so many things we do not want to see in this movie, one of which is going to be Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yeah. And before we move on, actually, there's something I forgot. Here is a clip that's going to show up on the screen, an audio clip of the announcement of Batman vs. Superman. And be aware, this was quoted not from a Superman story, which this movie is a sequel to. This was quoted from a Batman Elseworld story, The Dark Knight Returns. And Harry Lennox, who played Swanwick, read this out loud. And it's a quote from Batman at the end of that story. And here it is. Okay. So, moving on. We're going to kind of... Technically, it is speculation. But I'd like to call it an educated guess, because I'm a tremendous Superman fan. I played close attention to Man of Steel and how that story unfolded. And then I spent 3 hours before we did this podcast, not today, but last night, on how this story could potentially lead into Batman versus Superman. The government knows he's there. They're not comfortable with him. That's pretty clear. And he destroyed their, $15 million satellite just because he could. So they're not going to be happy.
No, not at all.
Alright. I'm going to stop that one. Speculation. This is our speculation. This is how we think this movie's going to go. Key points from the first movie that should be addressed before we talk about this. And how it could potentially lead into Batman versus Superman. The first point is the U.S. government is not comfortable with the existence of Superman. This is demonstrated, once again, even after Superman gets on the military's good side towards the end of the film, when after Superman defeats, or Faora gets away. Towards the end of the film, Superman pulls that satellite out of the orbit, and, it's pretty clear that the government was trying to use it to figure out where he hung his cape, and he didn't like it, and they were trying to figure out more about him, and he's not giving them all that much information, because he wants to continue to live a normal life as Clark Kent, and he wants to separate that from Superman. So, it would be reasonable to assume that the U.S. government believes Superman to be a threat to not only national security, but international security. And I'm sure we'll... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, of course they're going to see him as a threat. But he's also now, at least the way I'm going to look at it, he's now not only got to worry about the U.S. government trying to figure out where he's at, as you said, where he hangs his cape, what his double life is, stuff like that. Now that they're introducing Batman into this, it is Batman versus Superman. Now he's got to worry about the biggest, information kind of guy in the DC area trying to find him too. Because, as soon as he gets introduced, Batman's going to be like, yeah, I got to hunt this guy down. He could be a problem.
And I will just go ahead and say this. Batman vs. Superman is not the official title. It's just the title that they're using for the movie right now. However, the popularity of the title, I would not be surprised if they just stuck with it. I don't like that Batman is the first name in that title, but I would be okay with it. Yeah. So, I'm sure eventually we'll end up getting like Shawn said earlier, a Transformers Dark of the Moon twist going on, where the government realizes the enemies are showing up because Superman is around, and if he were to leave, the world would be safer. At least that's what they would believe. It would also be reasonable to assume the government employs both Luthor Corps and Wayne Industries to develop weapons to use against Superman if that time should present itself, which would mean Bruce and Lex would meet, and then, Batman could get closer. Batman could get closer to Superman and develop that faster than Lex would.
Yeah, but then you got to think of, like you just said, if Bruce and Lex were working together to make weapons against against Superman, but then Batman and Superman were working together to protect the world, that would put Batman and Bruce working on different... That is like some kind of mental crossroads that I don't even want to approach.
Well, they're probably just going to do it how every other Batman vs. Superman thing goes. Lex and Bruce fucking meet up. Bruce comes up with some kind of super thing, and then all of a sudden Batman and Superman go up against Lex Luthor, which then means Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne go up against Lex, and then that's pretty much how every other Batman vs. Superman thing goes.
Am I the only one who's getting a wimpy picture of Ben Affleck and Jesse Eisenberg together as Lex Luthor and Batman? And trying to go up against Superman now?
Honey, you had to bring that up. So yeah, now that's going to be a horrible picture. That just further proves that neither one of them guys should play that part.
Well, Jesse Eisenberg always plays the wimpy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm imagining geeky little Lex Luthor.
I hope Jesse Eisenberg buffs himself up. I don't even think that's going to help him. He's got that dorky face.
And he's kind of got a slouch to him.
Yeah, it's no worse than that rumor going around where they were trying to say that Bieber was going to be,
Riddler? Robin. Is that what it was?
It was Robin.
Yeah, no, Bieber is not going to play Robin. That has been, I'm pretty sure that was officially released that he is not going to have any part in this movie.
Superman don't even like Justin Bieber.
Yeah. So I will say one thing I want to see in this movie, and one thing I would like to see, is just the general action between Batman and Superman. How are they going to fight? Like, I want to jump into that. If they don't like each other, they're obviously going to fight at some point. Like, are they going to meet up in Metropolis? Are they going to meet up in Gotham? Like, how are they going to pull that off?
Okay.
Probably both.
How are they going to have Metropolis and Gotham, exist at the same time?
Well, because they do, honey. The DC universe is all
true.
They both exist within the United States. It's just...
Yeah, but I never followed along with Superman because, no offense, but I cannot stand Superman.
No, I can't either.
So, I don't know where Gotham is located. I don't know where Gotham is located, but Metropolis is in Kansas, not far from Smallville. Both are fictional cities, but they're both in Kansas.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. It would be as if Gotham is New York City, and then Metropolis is Kansas City. Look at it that way.
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
Gotham is pretty much based up in New York.
At least that's the idea, because anytime you see Gotham, it's always surrounded by water. It's almost island. It's almost like Manhattan,
And Arkham Asylum is... yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, when they're fighting, how is it going to take place in which area? And when they're fighting, how are they going to choreograph them?
Here's how this is going to work. I don't know how it's really going to work, but keep this in mind. Kryptonite did not play, not even the slightest part in Man of Steel. Zack Snyder and David Goyer has not said that it does not exist, but it did not play a role in Man of Steel. So Batman does not have that with him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works.
Well, yeah, because if Batman cannot use any source of kryptonite, now this is all speculation, of course. If kryptonite does not exist or is not used at this point, is not noted as, Superman's weakness, Batman not being able to use that to his advantage, because, Batman, it's always been with him, that's how he always defeated him.
Yeah.
Was with kryptonite. So if Batman is stuck using just his normal gadgets, Superman's got all his powers. I mean, that's going to be one hell of a hard fight.
It will. I think it'll come down to, like, they'll probably take the easy route. Like, Batman just took this meteor because it looked cool and it was green, and then he incorporated it into his weapon, so he just happened to have it, and it just happened to be Superman's weakness. I will kill them if they do that, but...
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Matt?
That seems a little far-fetched. Ooh, pretty colors. Let's use it in a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really see Batman doing that.
Not to mention, Batman doesn't exactly have a favor over the color green. It's usually, according to the Lego movie, it's either black or really, really dark gray.
Yeah.
Are they gonna introduce any other characters except Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman?
Unconfirmed rumor that Cyborg and Aquaman were going to make an appearance. That is unconfirmed, and I doubt it's going to happen. There's already too many characters.
Aquaman. No Aquaman. Please.
Aquaman is awesome.
In the new 52s, the old Aquaman... Okay, the original Aquaman was a badass. Now, about midways through, Aquaman became a bitch. He got downplayed so bad. And then in the new 52s, the new Aquaman, he's a boss. But the only time you've seen that was in the Injustice Gods Among Us game.
Yeah.
So Aquaman doesn't need to be there. Cyborg, I could see him popping up in some way, just, in a minuscule kind of thing. So,
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might, be introduced at the very end or something like that.
Now... before we get to Batman and Lex and Wonder Woman, as far as Superman goes, how will the Daily Planet affect his life now that he's employed there? Because previously, in other movies, Superman almost never scooped a story because he was always running off to save the day. It was always Lois writing everything, and he was just kind of there, getting pictures, or occasionally he would get something in, and Lois always credited him. So, it wasn't... He never had his own line. Like in Superman, the movie with Christopher Reeve, he never had his own line. It was always as reported by, Clark Kent and Lois Lane, because Lois would do it and just give him credit because he was with her, but he was never investigating as far as a reporter because he would be saving people.
Well, I feel like they'll probably stick with that aspect of the movie. I would like to see them play a little bit, use that as a little bigger part of his life. I mean, he's always having to go out, yes, but in this movie, being it is labeled as Batman versus Superman, are they going to have it more of them working together at some point against a common villain like Lex Luthor? Or if it's just him versus Batman, like a penis swinging contest, I mean, he could still, I feel like they could use the side lives a little more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just going to be the same as every other one.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if that's the way they took it, but...
Well, the only problem I really see with focusing in on the reporting part is it's going to be too reminiscent of Spider-Man.
That is true. I will say that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could try to pull that off, but then, there's going to be a lot of Spider-Man fans out there that are going to be, in a huff about them ripping it off from Spider-Man.
That is true. Spider-Man fans, Superman had it first, go away. I'm just kidding, I love that.
I like how both red and blue superheroes in the universes are
reporters,
newspaper writers.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Spider-Man is a photographer, guys.
Well, yeah, but he still does focus in on a reporting. He's part of a newspaper, so it could be really reminiscent of that.
And they're both red and blue.
I mean, the Daily Planet, the Daily Bugle,
Yeah.
They did get creative with that.
Yeah, no, they definitely stuck that pretty close, especially being one's Marvel and the other one's DC, but...
Superman had it first, guys.
Well, regardless, I don't give a damn what Superman had. Spider-Man still beats Superman, if you ask me.
Oh, I agree with that, and regardless who had it first in the comics, there's a lot of people that are less interested in the comics and more interested in the movie side, and the people who are more interested in the movie side have probably already seen the Spider-Man first.
That is true. Unless you're
And
over.
then we're going to have the comic book people and then the movie people in a huge fight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That always
Especially
happens.
if we have any comic book people watch this, they're probably going to get mad at us. That's not right. You didn't read it. And we're like, rah, rah, rah. Comic book geeks are crazy, man.
Okay, well, correct us, guys. Like, you guys, we call you geeks, but we love you guys to death. Like, you
Oh, yeah,
are
we're all nerds.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be talking about Superman and Batman if we weren't. But yeah, if we are wrong on something, correct us. Spider-Man had it. No. Superman still had it first in the movies, but you'd have to be old enough to remember Christopher Reeve's Superman or have watched it. Off of that.
Tell me my girlfriend's too young?
I thought we already covered the fact that you're a pedophile.
Moving on. I think Superman will be more in tune with his surroundings. Like, he'll be on a mission investigating stuff, and then he'll have to go save somebody, but he'll be right back investigating. Or, as Superman being involved with it specifically, I think he will be accurately describing the events as, like, his article. But, realistically, Perry White is a smart man. Like, that will raise eyebrows if, like, this has that much detail on everything that's going on.
Yeah.
The next thing, how are they believably going to play the angle of Clark Kent's or Superman's identity as Clark Kent, which, again, is faithfully concealed by glasses, but the issue is Clark still carried himself as a man very much the same way at the end of Man of Steel as he did when he was Superman, and pretty much the entire rest of the movie other than, like, the end. I mean, he always had that same presence. All he did was add glasses. And
yeah.
The glasses are only a quarter of his identity, of his secret identity. Christopher Reeve, I think, portrayed this really well, and a lot of people picked up on it. When he was Clark Kent, he was extremely clumsy. He had his glasses on, his hair was curled, and he also slouched. He slouched over, and he looked like, a doofus, because he was slouched and kind of had that thing to him.
To him, that kind of, I'm going to go sit in my chair and do my computer work kind of look.
Yeah, but when he was Superman, he stood up straight. He had a strong presence to him. He had that curl in his hair. His glasses were gone, and he just had that powerful presence to him.
Yeah.
Which is why he was cast as Superman back then, because the director tried him out for both parts, and that's, like, literally, without being directed, is how he portrayed that character, which is why Christopher Reeve is so beloved, because he wasn't directed.
Yeah.
You just played that character.
Well, yeah, that's a big part of playing Superman, or any superhero for that matter. You've got to be able to portray both parts extremely well.
Yeah.
I mean, and being your alter ego or your hidden identity as a superhero is the biggest part of your identity.
Yes.
Anytime you have to think about it. Because, I mean, you think about the way Batman and Bruce Wayne are. You've got Bruce Wayne, he's out there. He's rich, he's famous, he's like, yeah, look at me, I'm going to keep making stuff. I'm going to make sure your attention stays on Bruce Wayne. But you're not going to realize that Bruce Wayne, come the end of the night, is this deep, dark, beat the hell out of Joker or Penguin in the middle of nowhere kind of guy.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Superman. During the day, or when he's not having a fight, here he is, he's Clark Kent, let me go do my report, I'm going to be this nerdy guy, and then all of a sudden, boom, instant comes, I need to be this, huge savior, let me go find the nearest phone booth that has, windows everywhere, you can see me get changed, and now I'm Superman, I'm going to go, like, do some shit.
He does not need a phone booth.
And I've not seen, Man of Steel yet. Harley, I know you've tried to get me to watch it, but I'm just a horrible, I hate Superman with a passion. But I feel like if that movie did as well as what you say, and as well as what the statistics say, he had to have played at least a pretty good Superman in it. So I feel like he could be able to pull it off in this one as well.
It's hard to tell, though, because there was no Clark Kent identity. He was Superman the entire time. I should say, he was always Clark Kent with superpowers. Like there was no Superman to him at that time. So he always had that same presence because that was who he was. And then at the end, when he became Superman, he decided, okay, well, I need a secret disguise so I can live out my life normally. And then he took on that persona. Like in the last 2 minutes of the movie, he took on that Clark Kent persona as we know it.
Okay. Well, then it all comes down to how he's going to act it. You know, is he going to be able to pull off that small, tiny little, you know, bodily, you know, those expressions that are going to really separate Superman from Clark Kent?
Yeah.
I mean, now I understand more of like what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention Henry Cavill, dude. He is a huge guy. I mean, he's bigger than. Okay, I don't know for sure, but I feel that he is a lot bigger than Hugh Jackman was for Wolverine, and that guy was ripped.
Yeah.
So, I don't see how anybody that big is gonna look like a dork. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but then it's gonna come down to the separation between Clark Kent and Superman, especially being he is that big. I mean, it's literally just going to be the glasses, because everyone else, I mean, the physical distinction is always going to be there. You can't change that. It's more of just going to how he's dressed. And the glasses, like, are they going to do that one time? I remember one Superman where his glasses didn't even have lenses. They were just frames.
Yeah.
I mean, are they actually going to make him wear glasses in this one? Or are they just going to be frames? Or are they even going to bring something like that up? You know?
He's definitely got glasses. I don't know if they're going to have frames or whatever, but it was definitely a pretty, like, a staple point. Like, the glasses are there. Before we move on to Batman, does anybody else want to, you know, talk about something related to Superman? No. Okay.
Everyone's like, oh, fuck Superman.
Yeah, Batman comes up. Who's Superman? Okay. So, we kind of touched on this, but we didn't really get into it. How will Ben Affleck, or Batfleck, handle the role of Batman? What's his voice, posture, and attitude going to be like as Bruce Wayne, and how is that going to vary when he becomes Batman?
Well,
hold on. Before you say this, I'm sorry. There's an important detail I think should be stated before you guys dive into this. Batman has been officially stated to have been doing this job for several years. He's an expert by now. He's not like Christian Bale, who's only been doing it for a few months. Like, he's an expert, and he's in his early 40s at this time. Yeah. So with that being said, go ahead.
Yeah, with that being said, he is going to be playing an older Batman. So that gives Affleck a little bit of wiggle room with how he can do Batman. I feel, just to start off, I feel that Ben Affleck is going to portray an excellent Bruce Wayne.
I agree.
I feel like he could play that part extremely well. But when it comes to that switch over, even with it being Batman is older, Batman's still going to have that body build. He's still going to have that general demeanor about him and the voice. When you hear Ben Affleck's voice, I personally don't believe that it sounds like Batman. And
he's kind of got a voice that's a lot like this.
Yeah, it's soft. It's comforting. Batman's not soft. Batman's not comforting. Batman is, you hear me, I'm going to kill you. Or, knock your ass out.
Well, one big problem is definitely how Batman and as Christian Bale in the older movies did the really deep voice. I don't really think I can see Ben Affleck pulling that off.
Yeah.
And as far as him being older, you'd think he'd be in more practice of a voice like that for doing it so long.
Yeah. You'd feel like he'd be able to really, really get that distinction out there. I don't think Ben Affleck's going to do it. And then, even with that being said, his fighting style. Ben Affleck, tell me how many movies you've seen him in where he actually plays like a big fighting, action-y part. I mean,
I don't know other than Daredevil.
Yeah. He's not really played this role very often. I mean, there's a few movies, yes, where he's had this big action-y part, but it's never been like the whole movie. This movie's going to be a lot of Batman fighting. It's going to be a lot of him out there doing, whether it's gliding through the city or fighting a bad guy, something like that, or him and Superman going at it. That's my biggest worry. Is how are they going to make him and Superman fight? Like, Ben Affleck is not going to be able to pull that.
Ben Affleck, what?
I don't think he can pull that off. I don't think he could pull off a fight with Batman. Or with a Superman, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, like, this whole movie is going to be a little wobbly, because you got the most bulkiest Lex ever.
If the director does a good job, if he can really point Ben Affleck in the right direction, I feel like Ben Affleck's acting ability, he could do it. I just feel like from his previous movies, he's not given me a reason to believe that this is the kind of part that he was made to play.
Right.
With the right direction, I feel he could do it. But again, direction is everything. You've got to have that experience, the ability to do it. I mean, I don't know. He could surprise me. He really could surprise me.
More than likely, they might have somebody play as a stunt double for Batman.
Oh no, you'd be able to see it.
If they could, I don't know. I don't think it would work. But this is just me. If Batman has like a voice changer, I think he could. Ben Affleck plays Bruce Wayne, and then he gets in the Batman suit, and his voice changer changes his voice. They should do Kevin Conroy voiceover as like Ben Affleck as Batman. That would be really weird.
It would. You would so be able to tell the difference in that.
So we've already discussed how what attitude, I guess, Batman will have towards Superman. I mean, they're not going to be friends at first, and he's probably going to be working against him and then inevitably become friends. But how will that develop over the course of Batman versus Superman and potential future Justice League movies? Shawn, how do you think that will work?
Well, I feel like if they become friends, or at least understand that there's an alliance to be made at this point, toward the end of the movie, a sequel would lead more into a League of Justice kind of thing. Justice League. League of Justice. Wow, I feel like a fucking idiot right there. I was thinking Legion or League of Doom for a minute there.
Yeah.
But a whole like Justice League thing was how they'd have to go with that. But that's been done so many times. I feel like they might try to avoid it. But
well, I mean, both Batman and Superman are founding members of the Justice League, alongside Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Flash. Who else? Aquaman, yeah. Sucks for you, Shawn.
Yeah,
he's
fuck
gonna show
Aquaman. God. So that did just
and Green Arrow
pop into my head though. I take back what I said a minute ago. I feel like they probably will take this. I just random change of mind. They will take this toward a Justice League type, movie, just because of the fact that they might want something DC that's gonna be competitive with the Avengers, with Marvel. Like, they've got all the different Marvel movies coming out. I feel like they might try to lead this in a way of being the DC. They've always competed. Make this another competitive movie segment.
They should do that. And considering Marvel's releasing like 3 movies a year, DC is really gonna have to step it up. Like, you can't just do Superman and Batman. Like, I love Superman, but even I get oversaturated with him sometimes.
Well, I mean, they are introducing Wonder Woman into this one too, which could bring in more for later as well.
And they also introduced 2 new TV shows, The Flash and The Green Arrow.
That is true.
And both of those are founding members of the Justice League.
And they should they should connect those in a way. Like, TV shows are the best way to set up and develop characters, and then do a movie as like the big punchline. For instance, I don't have a for instance, but clearly Superman and Batman are going to develop an insane relationship to the point where if Kryptonite comes into play, he's going to give some to Batman. It's hard to say now because Superman is a lot less trusting now than he was, 6 years ago. Because, I mean, it's a new universe. He's bolder.
Well, even then, I mean, Batman always had a failsafe for Superman. I mean, he always had the kryptonite cage for him.
That is true. I think when Batman figures it out, Superman won't even have to give it to him. Batman's already going to have a stockpile of it.
Yeah, I mean, that would not surprise me. I mean, you got to think Bruce Wayne, Batman has always had the jump on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
His information's always there.
Oh, definitely. Now here's something we've discussed here and there throughout this whole thing. Why would Batman think he stands a chance against Superman after witnessing his capabilities? As this interpretation, if Man of Steel's anything to go off of, is intended to be more realistic, how will he react and deal with that situation? Jess, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think they might try to nerf Superman a little bit or give something that might give Batman an advantage, but I'm not really sure on that one.
What about you, Shawn?
Well, yeah. Look at this way. Batman's reaction, purely the discovery or, Superman becoming known, Clark Kent releasing, hey guys, guess what? This new guy's here. I should say Clark Kent becoming Superman, excuse me. Batman has always looked up to something new like that as a challenge, something he's going to go up against. Like even when, Penguin presented himself, Scarecrow came up out of the blue, Joker appeared. Batman never looked at the enemy as, oh my God, he's that much more powerful, let me stay away. It was always, he's that much more powerful, I've got to get to a point where I can take him down. So
Yeah.
Batman, I feel like he's going to look at it, or should look at it, as more of a challenge, something he's going to really get into and just run with.
He'll probably have a power suit or something like that.
Yeah, that's right, Max. He could do something like, like an amped up power suit, an exoskeleton.
Well, The Dark Knight Rises is completely unrelated, but Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight Rises did do something similar to that when he put that brace on his leg and it put his I don't know what it did, but pretty much it made his kicks a lot stronger. And that was demonstrated when he kicked that brick wall and broke it. So something similar to that I think would work.
Well, to an extent.
Yeah, a brick wall is different than Superman, but
yeah.
Probably have a power suit or something with kryptonite embedded in it.
Kryptonite, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to it's gonna have to be in this movie. After watching Man of Steel and the brutality that Superman can, just the brutalness of he can be extremely brutal, and this was demonstrated ridiculously in Man of Steel. I mean, it was insane. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how Batman comes up and adapts to that.
Well, one thing is that Batman, as much as I hate to say it because I'm more on the Batman side of things, is probably going to have to get his ass kicked by Superman, at least in the beginning, to see what he's up against.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Superman is going to beat the ever-living hell out of Batman. First thing, right off the bat.
Well, yeah, and let's not forget, this is a Superman sequel, and David Goyer has stated himself, this is the quote he said, "Come on, guys, it would be unrealistic to assume or even insinuate that Batman could stand a chance against Superman," which I think it's true, but as much of a Superman fan as I am, I still do love Batman as a character, and that needs to be respected.
Well, yeah, but it'll go back to like it always has been. Superman's the brawn, Batman's the brain.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Batman in a fight could beat Superman just because of the fact that Batman has the tech, the kryptonite bullet, the kryptonite gauntlets, the kryptonite cage.
With preparation.
That's the only reason why Batman would ever beat Superman is using kryptonite.
Yeah.
And I mean, even so, you take that aside, and Batman literally just becomes the brain. That's all he's good for in that aspect. As much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah. So I think before we move on to Lex Luthor, I think they really need to be extremely creative with how they're going to do this. Because I will be, honestly, and Shawn, you're probably not going to believe me, but I will be just as disappointed if they do Batman wrong. Even though this is a Superman movie, and that's That's my thing. But if they do Batman wrong, I will be just as disappointed.
Well, they're already doing Batman wrong. Come on, we've been over this.
Okay.
Affleck, really, I love Affleck as an actor. I do. Affleck, if you see this, don't sue me. I told you, I love you as an actor. You're a great actor. I just don't feel like Affleck should be Batman.
He's definitely got some big shoes to fill as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Just stepping in a huge role.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is. And like Shawn said, I mean, Affleck could make us eat our words horribly. This could turn into that whole Heath Ledger and being the Joker thing that flew out back when The Dark Knight was being made, and Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker, and people flipped out. And turns out Heath Ledger blew that role out of the water. According to some sources, it cost him his life. I don't really know about that. I don't want to get into it, but I mean, Affleck could do something similar. Hopefully not at the cost of his life, but I mean, he could definitely blow us out of the water.
Well, as far as all of the criticism we're giving him, it could, go one of two ways. It could either go the Heath Ledger way and just make him that much better when he takes it to heart, or he could, rebel against all this criticism he's getting and be just terrible.
Yeah, he definitely could. Ben Affleck, you got to respect the fans. You are not Ben Affleck. You're like, when you're in that movie, you're Batman, and if you do that wrong, your career is, I promise you, your career is over. I mean, look what happened.
With all the Batman crazy fans.
Look what happened to Brandon Routh. He played Superman in Superman Returns, did it, okay, I liked it, but I mean, no, a lot of people didn't like that, and now you don't see him in much of anything but really cheap-made movies.
Yeah. All it takes is one mess up.
Yeah,
especially on a project this big.
Yeah, especially on a project this big.
I feel like that's enough dogging on Affleck's career. Let's go ahead and kick this up to Luther and kick dog on someone else's career for a minute. I mean, I feel like Lex in any Superman movie and any Superman TV show, be it animated, live action, any comic, has always been this huge. He's a very presentable character.
He's intimidating, and he has a sophisticated but brutal presence with him.
Exactly. Now, that being said, this guy they've got coming in playing Lex is just, well, he's a kid.
Yes.
I mean, he ain't but like, what, 25 maybe? 26?
I will say, I feel like they're going off of Mark Zuckerberg being this huge thing with Facebook and being this, like, oh my god, CEO, billionaire, playboy guy. Not really, but I mean, that's kind of what they're going off of, because I guess they're trying to make a point that you don't have to be old and, like, cynical to be this guy. I mean, they could be...
Okay, that being said, he could play the businessy part of it. He could take, what is it? LexCorp? What was it?
It's LexCorp. I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's LexCorp, sometimes it's Luthor Corp. But in Man of Steel, all the logos said LexCorp.
Okay, well, then take LexCorp. He could play, like, the CEO of LexCorp pretty well. But then when it comes to that, where's that cynical part of Lex?
Ow.
That aside, can you imagine him being bald? I mean, Lex has always been bald.
I cannot imagine him being bald. There's only 2 times Lex was not bald. That was when Gene Hackman played him because he refused to wear the bald cap. But it turns out that they wrote that into the script saying that the hair was just a wig when it was actually Gene Hackman's hair with a, that was one of the times he was not bald. And the other time was in the 90s TV show, The Adventures of Lois and Clark, which had Dean Cain playing Superman. Terry Hatcher, by the way, is hot. But the guy that played Lex, I don't remember his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but I don't want to waste time trying to guess it. He was not bald throughout that entire series, and it was pretty popular in the 90s. That's the only 2 times, and they did okay, but they still had that really intimidating presence with them. So Eisenberg doesn't have that presence. I'm sorry. So they're gonna really like go bald, please. Just go bald.
Yeah, he would have to be, whether it's just wearing the cap or if he actually shaves his head. It depends on how far he wants to take the role. I just can't imagine this little guy being Lex. Lex has always been, like this 6 foot tall, not necessarily built, but I mean he's got that general look to him, and he's just got this formidable presence. And I don't see him walking out and having that presence.
And surprise, surprise, he's 30, so he's not going to grow into the role either.
I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was old.
Yeah, his birthday's in 1983.
Damn.
Wow.
They should have had John Malkovich be Lex.
Oh, God, no, I will draw the line there. He could play Lionel Luthor, but not Lex.
He's also that old guy in Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Oh!
The one that actually gives Shia LaBeouf the job.
He's too old for Lex. He could play Lex's father, Lionel Luthor. That would be awesome. But as far as Lex goes, he's too old for that part. No offense, Malkovich. You could probably rip my head off. But no offense. So
I love how we keep apologizing to the actors like they're actually watching this.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you never know. This could be really popular and it could get around. What kind of character do you think Lex will be in this interpretation? How do you think Zack, knowing how Eisenberg looks, how do you think that his character is going to be in this universe?
He's probably going to be somebody who's trying to compensate for his childish look and demeanor.
Yeah, he'll probably stick more toward the mech suit that Luthor liked to use every now and again.
I hate to be the kind of person that, correlate something else, but I see him as kind of being I don't know if you guys ever saw Pinky and the Brain. I kind of envision him as being kind of trying to pull off the brain sort of thing.
Oh, so small, but so smart and that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I would go for that.
I think he could pull that off really well. I think that would be one hell of a way for them to go with it.
Pinky and
Yeah, because I don't see him being able to pull off the brawn of something like that.
Yeah, like Shawn said, he'll probably be in a mech suit.
He should be in a mech suit.
If he ends up in a fight scene. No, I mean, Lex, there has been times where he's always had, the mech suit that he'd like to go around in whenever he was having to fight somebody. Now, if they steer away from him being any kind of, actual fight person, because I feel like they're trying to stick this just toward the Batman and Superman section.
Yeah.
Kind of leave Lex as just a background, guy, which would be perfect for him to do the Pinky and the Brain thing, playing the brain. I think Lex could more spend this movie, contemplating, kind of pitting them against each other, trying to use that to his advantage to kind of weaken Superman in some way to where come the next movie, Lex jumps up to all of a sudden be this huge bad guy.
Well, personally, I think if Lex turns out to be the character that I hope he turns out to be, I think it's pretty likely he'll end up having a vendetta against Superman because of the destruction of Metropolis. And Lex won't necessarily be evil, more misunderstood and misguided in, his intentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think that would be pretty interesting. We've already pretty much covered in what way will Lex Luthor play as a formidable foe. I think that's pretty obvious. Lex is pretty much a genius, almost on par, if not superseding Batman's intelligence, rivaling it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at that, Lex, he designs so many different things. He comes up with so many new technologies and so many different ways to implement things. So he's an innovator.
Yeah. And that kind of correlates with the Facebook thing. Mark Zuckerberg is an innovator, and they could play into that kind of thing. He's not, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. He's an innovator in, that modern age kind of sense. I don't think industrialization will be a big role with Lex now, and I don't think real estate, like it was back in Christopher Reeve's movie, is going to be at all, a concern for Lex anymore.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's kick this forward. I was going to say, you want to bring up Wonder Woman? I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
I feel like everyone might be kind of waiting to hear about her.
yeah. Wonder Woman, And for those, I don't know how it is in the new 52, but Wonder Woman actually previously played, if not currently, is a love interest for Superman. Like, I don't even know what happened to Lois, but like Wonder Woman's a love interest. Modern day for like in the comics is a love interest. But the rumor that's going around is that she only shows up at the end. I don't know about that. It kind of seems like a waste. Like, why even put her in there? But what role do you think she will play in the film? I mean, it's clearly focused on Superman, Batman, and Lex as central characters, but how is her origin going to play into that realistic Man of Steel universe?
Well, I think just for a second, let's jump back. You said that she's gonna pop up supposedly toward the end of the film. I mean, that could be something like they're thinking about doing with like Batman Arkham Knight that we discussed last week, having Superman pop up right at the end. It could just be a kickoff to get a new character in there to get ready for a new movie, or in Arkham Knight's case, a new game. You know, a lead in toward a Superman game. Mind you, the Superman thing in Arkham Knight was speculation, not necessarily proven. But I think in this case, having her pop up toward the end, or at least somewhere in the movie, is going to be more of a lead-in to the next film they want to release, the next Superman movie that's going to come out, or the next just DC movie in general. And but I feel her part, at least playing in this kind of segment, I don't know if they'll bring her in as a love interest. I think they'll bring her more in as an ally towards Superman. Like, obviously, they might have some kind of connection. I mean, that's going to be one of those things that we'll just have to see what happens. But she's going to have to come in as an ally for one of them. And I mean, everyone knows Wonder Woman was always partial to Superman, so
it'll most likely play in that way. Batman is kind of most likely going to be racist, I guess, towards superpowered beings in this movie, so he's probably not going to be on the best. Wonder Woman's not going to be on his good side from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I feel
what they might do, they might have her come in as kind of like a referee for both of them.
Yeah, like a moderator. She might end up coming in and stopping the fight, you know, getting them to realize, hey, you guys, same team.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman's playing Call of Duty and someone throws a random grenade.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman's evolved over the years, but previously back, like, I think the original Justice League cartoon, they portrayed her as a warrior that had to be shown how to deal with things because she was a warrior. Like, her first reaction was to kill, because that's what she did. She's the, you know, boom. And she had to be shown by the other heroes, Superman and Batman, like, you know, this isn't how we do things. So, that'll be weird, but it would be a nice change in tone for Wonder Woman. But it might be a little sexist. Like, don't demasculinize her just for the sake that she's a woman. Like, she needs to be the badass that she is.
Oh, God, yeah. I think that's why they picked the actress they did.
Yeah. Wonder Woman, she's not going to be a love interest in this movie. Like, we pretty much established that. Lois is here. She's the love interest. They're not going to change that. I don't think they would even
She might be Batman's love interest.
No,
I think Batman had something for Hot Girl? No, it wasn't her, was it?
No, it's always been Wonder Woman.
Batman, I don't ever remember them two having some kind of love.
Yeah.
That's just a weird image.
I think they had a thing.
Hawk Girl and Green Lantern have always had a thing. Batman and Wonder Woman have always had a thing.
Oh, okay. That's right. Jon Stewart had a thing for Hot Girl. I don't know. I know Batman and Wonder Woman had a thing. Because I was just watching Justice League Unlimited, and he had a thing for somebody, but it wasn't Wonder Woman. I just don't remember who it was.
I don't know.
In the TV series, yeah, it was Wonder Woman, because I remember John was like, how about you and Wonder, or whatever the hell, or Diana?
Oh, I think it was. I think you're right.
And Batman was like, we're just friends.
Yeah, Batman has always just been friends. Like, he don't have it's always just been friends.
Oh yeah, that's what he tells everybody, but he's getting him a little bit of kitty on the side, you know?
Well, yeah, why do you think they fight so much? This goes back to our comment about being suffocated with a crotch.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we get to the estimated budget, I kind of feel like we moved past Wonder Woman pretty quickly, but we don't know a lot about her. Like, is there anything else that you guys want to say?
I really don't have anything else I can add. I mean, I feel like Wonder Woman, they've left her so ambiguous. They've not really given us any information. We're just kind of stuck at a point of, well, what's it gonna be, guys?
Well, here's something. Wonder Woman's costume, which by the way is super sexy, they're definitely gonna change it. They're gonna go over, what function over fashion is what they're gonna go over, is what they're gonna do with her. So like, I don't think she's gonna have like, strapless, armless, legless battle suit. But I mean, I would like for it to be that way. I just think it's gonna be more. It's definitely going to be Greek based. I mean, wait, hold on. Zeus is Greek god, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, okay. Wonder Woman is in that universe with the Greek gods. So it's going to be weird and pretty interesting to see how they do her costume, because
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
people are
definitely
going
gonna have to be different.
yeah, it's going to have to be, because Zack Snyder and Goyer and Nolan have always been function over form. That's why Superman lost his underwear. That's why Batman lost his spandex. It needed to be more believable. So, and her rope, I forget what they call it, but the rope of truth or whatever. That has to be there. Like, they cannot do it without that, and that's gonna be weird to see.
Well, yeah, she'll have her lasso, but
The lasso of truth, I think, is what it's called. It's gonna be weird. Like, God, like, could you imagine that? Like, she just lassos somebody and they're all like telling the truth all of a sudden. But I look forward.
yeah, that's how she always got her information.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what she used to do way back when. She'd get you, find out what she needed to know, and then kill you. I mean, well, before she actually became Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So, the estimated budget, or the rumored estimated budget, is 131 million. This is a problem for me. This is no by no means. This is from ScreenRant.com, which, to my knowledge, is a pretty reliable source. However, this just seems off, because 131 million for Batman versus Superman is literally half the budget for Man of Steel. It makes no sense to cut that budget in half, considering Man of Steel made 400 million more than it cost to make it. And
Yeah.
why would they cut that in half when they're going to be involving more characters, which is there's not going to be as much destruction. I really don't think there will be. It's going to be more, hopefully, story focused.
Yeah, well, I agree, but it's just scary to think that they're going to go from having it just singular about Superman to kicking in, bringing in Wonder Woman and Batman along with that, and cutting that budget in half means, the cinematic's going to be a little, less. There's not going to be as much digital engineering. They're not going to be able to pay the actors. Well, they're going to have to put more money into paying the actors because, well, just that's 3/4 of the budget right there. I mean, Affleck's not a cheap guy.
He's definitely not.
I mean, you can't, and not just him in general. I mean, all of them. I'm sorry, his name just popped up because I've said it so many times.
Well,
but, I mean,
Ben
all the
Affleck
actors
is
and
more
actresses
well known.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, what?
Ben Affleck is more well known. Henry Cavill is not networked. His net worth is nowhere near Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm sure, but I just don't want to single anybody out at this point.
That's okay. Ben Affleck, you're too expensive.
You don't need no more monies. But no, the actors and actresses in this movie are gonna be a substantial amount of the budget. I mean, that's the way it always ends up. But I mean as far as being it's a superhero movie, there's gonna be a lot of digital engineering and a lot of animation done, high dollar animation, just to get in the certain cinematic areas that need to be done, and a lot of the small things here and there that needed to be added in that you can't really get live action, like a lot of the destruction, all that's cinematic, or at least, in some aspect.
This is speculation, but to me it's an educated guess. Lex will, in my opinion, inadvertently end up being the Godfather villain behind everything if they go into a Justice League thing, like Thanos is for Marvel Cinematic Universe. The thing is, Lex is just a man that Superman, if he chose to kill, could wipe out instantly. And Lex isn't going to be even close to a threat physically as Zod was, so that's not even going to come into play. But what incentive as a primitive species in contrast to the DC Universe characters could Lex possibly offer some of Superman and Batman's villains, or any DC villain, to fight for him and to keep those villains from killing him and taking over?
Knowledge. The fact that Lex Luthor is the problem solver that he is, the innovator that he is. He's the leader in basically the villain's technology. I mean, he's always gonna figure out what's there. He's always gonna figure out a way to overpass it, much like Batman does when he's fighting the villains. Batman's always figuring out, what's the easiest way to overtake them. That's Lex. And even though Batman can just, drop Lex in an instant, Superman is not going to kill. Like, the only time he's really ever had the incentive to kill is in the alternate reality that kicked up in Injustice Gods Among Us.
Spoilers!
When the forces got all intertwined and fucking Superman became this murderous, rampaging guy.
Well, here's a spoiler for you, Shawn. Superman snapped Zod's neck at the end of Man of Steel.
Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Well, that aside, Zod deserved to die, and I mean, Lex, I don't think Superman has ever really seen Lex as a really formidable enemy. It's Lex's knowledge that has always crippled Superman in some way.
Yeah, I think I think Lex to Superman is more of a nuisance than anything. He just gets, he's so irritating.
He gets in the way.
Yeah.
He's that wall that you've got to jump over every now and again.
Yeah, and Lex, don't get us wrong, viewers, Lex is definitely a formidable foe, but to Superman, I can't see that Superman sees him as, Lex, for instance, Lex is definitely not on the same field as Zod or Doomsday.
Oh, God, no. No, not at all. But then you got to think, if they lead this movie in that kind of direction, being they're bringing Lex in, and they're bringing in Wonder Woman, and they're bringing in Batman, if they start going toward the Justice League area, Lex is probably going to
Doomsday's going to be in.
Yeah. It'll bring in more of that Lex being the engineer or the creator of, a unity between the villains. Almost bringing them together or supplying all of them with the technology they needed to fight against Batman, Superman, and the Justice League.
Yeah.
Didn't they use the Lex Luthor Doomsday angle where Lex was pretty much just Doomsday's little bitch?
You mean Doomsday was Lex's bitch for a little bit? They did do that.
Yeah, one of the two.
There's several kinds of things that Doomsday comes from. One was that he was created on Krypton as a protector of Krypton, but he couldn't decipher between good and evil, so he just started attacking everything. And then Lex, the aspect he played was Lex created Doomsday. This is a different storyline, obviously. Was Lex created Doomsday and then brainwashed him into literally hating Superman. Doomsday was in a chamber for a long time, literally just seeing flashes of Superman and was learning to hate him. So now Doomsday in that storyline has this burning, unbreakable, and indestructible hate for Superman.
Yeah, don't surprise me.
Is there anything that, let's say, Jess, that you want to add? Or bring up?
As far as Lex Luthor goes?
As far as anything.
No.
That involves Batman
really.
versus Superman.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got sidetracked and now I'm drawing Wonder Woman.
What about you, Max?
I just feel like they better do a damn good job or they're gonna fucking ruin the whole future plan of this.
Oh, they will. Oh. Well,
yeah, I've got high hopes for the movie. I'm hoping they do a good job. I've really got, I've said it 100 times. I don't like the idea of Affleck playing Batman. That's my biggest problem with this movie. But like I said earlier, I feel like if the director can get it right, if the writers and the producers and everyone can come together to make a good enough script, to make a good enough screen set, to where it'll all flow well, the actors have got good instruction, I think they can pull it off. I think this can be an amazing movie. They really just need to focus, take their time, and get it right. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I'll see it when it comes out, mostly because it's got Batman in it, even though it's Affleck. I mean, Batman's Batman. Better not ruin Batman, Affleck. I'm just saying.
Well, I think something that should be noted before we close this up. Guys, I know movie rights and comic book stuff is hard to understand, but this is not DC versus Marvel. I'm sorry. It's DC's characters, but Marvel is its own movie-making industry now. It's Marvel Studios. DC does not do that. There is no Marvel versus DC. This is Warner Brothers versus Marvel. WB is in charge of, the entire thing. So, if this falls flat, I just hope somehow I think Disney should buy DC and just, kill that whole thing. No more, competition. Just make good movies. That's all I want.
Yeah, well, the superhero competition between DC and Marvel has always been a big key point of it, though.
It has, but I'm sorry to say.
You gotta think, it's went back and forth between them over the years, too. One minute it's DC up top, next minute it's Marvel. Right now, the movie segment just happens to be Marvel. But if you think about it, the game segment right now is big for DC. You gotta think how many DC games have came out lately.
DC...
thought of Disney owning any superheroes just terrifies me.
Any more than they already do.
Yeah. I will say, what was I going to say? Oh, DC, they're kind of blowing Marvel out of the water with TV shows, with animated movies, cartoons, video games, and comic books. Marvel is, they're pretty close to them in those fields. Marvel's animated features suck. I'm sorry. But their video games are pretty good. And their movies are blowing DC out of the water, unfortunately.
They are. Marvel movies are kicking ass, which is what's keeping them on par with DC right now. It's because of the fact that their big budget movies are just out there. They've got such high budgets. They've got such high intake. They're grossing so much. And, I mean, look at it. Have you watched a Marvel movie in the last 3 years and not liked it?
I think I've watched every one of them at least. I watched Captain America 6 freaking times in a row, back to back to back.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel movies that are coming out are amazing. I mean, look, they've got the new Captain America Winter Soldier coming out. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight premiere going to be there. Great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like DC they're going to do good. I mean, I think as long as the director and the writers and producers can do a good job, this will be good. I've said it 100 times. So I feel like it's definitely going to be an interesting movie when it gets here.
Thank you guys for watching the Shamrock Productions podcast. Don't forget to rate, share, subscribe, and +1 this video. Also, be sure to leave suggestions for future podcasts in the comments. We'll talk about anything related to movies, TV shows, and video games. This is Harley with Shamrock Productions and the Shamrock Podcast, and thank you for watching.
Remember, my friends, the will of the horseman is the will of the apocalypse.
Bye.